farmer, friend, singer-songwriter, Lyal Strickland.
And that's farmer, friend, and jack of all trades, Chris Horn.
And we're those Taste Bud Guys. Hi guys, welcome to the very first episode of Those Taste Bud Guys. Right now you should probably be asking yourself, what am I watching? And that would be a very good question.
Yes.
That we don't really have an answer to.
Yet.
We're going to try to define it the best we can. So, real quickly, we're not exactly going to be a review show, we don't think. But we're not going to be an educational show either. I think we're going to call it a documentary.
It sounds like we have no purpose whatsoever.
We do have purpose, so...
And not purpose and not having purpose, right? Just
right, yeah. This will be a little bit for fun and a lot for our own benefit. However, several years ago, we got into trying different craft beers, different whiskeys, different foods, just different everything. And along the way, we had a really good time enjoying ourselves, just doing stuff.
Yeah.
And we talk about it and philosophize about it, and we try to share it with our friends. And we had such a good time doing it that we realized we probably wanted to share it with more people than just our friends, so we decided to start over.
Yes, all the way back to the beginning. And before we get started, we want to just lay out that we are not sommeliers. We are not, I would not even say we're like, super beer snobs.
No.
We just like to try new stuff. We are always up for something new. And so that's kind of what we're coming at this from.
Yeah, and it's not just going to be beers. It'll be other adult beverages, but non-alcoholic beverages too. We may do coffee, we may do kombucha, I think, stuff we've talked about. Any ideas are good ideas. We hope to expand into food. So, to give you kind of a rough idea of what we're getting into, that's where we're heading this. But we decided we need to start from the very beginning.
The very, very, very beginning.
And neither one of us are particularly looking forward to this, but I think it's necessary. I think we need to start where everyone can relate from.
You got to have a benchmark, and so this is our benchmark.
Yeah, so I think probably everyone on camera has tried this. I know this is where most everybody around here started. So we're going to start this off with something a little bit boring, and we are going with the king of beers, Budweiser. Now, before you turn it off and roll your eyes, this isn't going to be a review too much. This is really just something to talk about for a minute while we introduce what we're doing for the show, and hopefully the next episode will pick up from there. But to start, this is something that pretty much each person that's looking probably has tried, I would say.
At least some version, or at least an Anheuser product.
If you haven't tried it, I guarantee you can get it. And that's even the more important, is hopefully it's something that you can compare to. So whatever we say about this, you'll at least be able to compare that with later notes.
Yeah.
So.
Let's go ahead and get a pour on it.
Yeah. Nope. I can't.
I had the same problem with mine. These little aluminum bottles get a little sweaty.
Wow.
So.
You're going to edit that out, right? So nobody can see me not being able to open a beer.
So, I'm struck of another beer review we saw on YouTube a while back, where he holds this up and talks about how much little color there is. It's kind of like dishwater. It tastes like, or not the taste, I'm getting ahead of myself. It looks like water, right?
It does. Lemonade's got more density than this, or opacity than this.
My head's gone. Yours is still there.
Yeah, well, I tried real hard to make it frothy and swelling. All right. So, as you guys know, Budweiser is one of the largest selling beers in the country. Well, actually, its cousin Bud Light is the largest selling beer in the nation.
Bud Light does almost twice as much sales as Coors Light, which is another huge, huge beer.
Which is the second largest beer.
Yeah.
At least in terms of sales. I don't know about distribution, if that holds true.
Mm-hmm.
But in sales, Bud Light takes about $2 billion a year in sales, I believe is what I've read, and followed by Coors Light at about $1 billion. And Budweiser's down to like $788 million, so almost a third of what its bigger cousin Bud Light does.
Yeah. 46% of the U.S. market. That's what
I believe that's what I read for Anheuser-Busch total.
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch controls that much, which is huge. I forgot how many 45 million barrels, I think, a year, something like that.
Massive.
That's what they make.
Yeah.
So this is widely available. This is not something you're going to have any trouble finding if you don't already have it in your hand.
I would say this is the quintessential American beer, at least for me, and at least if you're from Missouri.
Yeah, and we are from Missouri. I think if you was to go overseas somewhere and ask somebody what they thought about American beer, this is probably what they assume we drink all the time. Mm-hmm. And rightly so. It is what everyone drinks all the time.
Yeah.
But what we're hoping to accomplish here is to get everybody to go out of their comfort zone and try something new. Maybe you are somebody that's wanted to try something different and you just don't know where to go with it. Or maybe you have friends that you're trying to figure out how to get them to take that next step. Have them sign on with us. Maybe they'll enjoy this trip as well, and maybe we can all learn together.
Yeah, and this is a great place to start because this is a straight American lager. It's light. There's not a lot of offensive tastes or challenging tastes, I think would be another way to say that.
And if I remember right, this is a 5%?
It's a 5% ABV, and this is why I personally choose Bud Heavy over Bud Light every time.
Bud Light's
4.2. Yeah.
5%, yes.
And Coors Light, 4.2. I believe Michelob Ultra is also 4.2. Most of those light beers are going to be around that way. I feel like Budweiser or Miller, someone came out with a really low-calorie beer that was sitting at 3.9. And at 3.9, you might as well just be drinking water, I'd think, right?
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Ultra, maybe?
Yeah. I just remember, needing to drink about 30 of them.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that as well. So,
not that the point of drinking is to get drunk, but that is a
side benefit.
Being buzzed is a little nice. It's a nice,
Drink
offshoot.
responsibly, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, so tasting. This is a rice and barley. Is that right?
Yeah, they make a big deal about rice being part of this, and I don't really remember that being a huge component of most beers. I guess they're owning it. Maybe. I don't know.
So, I get little to no nose on it. It's got this kind of, not a skunky smell, but it's earthy smell. I don't know, I always describe it as a tin can, and that's kind of what, if you could smell a oxidized aluminum can, that's what Budweiser always smells to me like. I don't know why. It doesn't matter if it's in a bottle or can or what, it always has that same flavor.
Yeah, it's a rusty flavor.
Yeah, and that's what it reminds me of, kind of earthy.
Have you ever drinking you ever drink out of an old rusted green bean can that's been sitting on the well house forever?
No, that is a good way to have to go to the hospital.
Okay, well, it tastes like that.
Marketing, it's important. Anyway, taste-wise, Bud Heavy at least does have a little bit of flavor of Bud Light. Bud Light is just water, really.
Yeah.
I don't know how to taste rice, so I'm not sure how to describe that.
There's just not much there. On the back end, there's a little bit of what I just call out. It's just a standard beer flavor.
Yeah.
If you've ever smelled someone who's been drinking all night, drinking beer, this is what it is. And it builds up. I will say that this builds up, obviously, like anything would. If you have multiples, that flavor, that stench becomes a little heavier.
There's no alcohol burn to this. That's one thing I'll give Budweiser credit for, or discredit, depends on how you view. It's very round, very smooth. Beginning to end, you're going to get the same flavor all the way through. Doesn't matter how many cans of this you pick up. If it's fresh, it's going to taste just like the next one. So if you want consistency, at least with a large company like this, you are going to get that. But on the other hand, as in a way of a lot of craft beers, you get that little extra special something that sets it aside. And you don't get that with Budweiser. There's nothing there that makes you go, oh, that back end taste, it's not there. There's almost nothing on your tongue. It all hits the back of your tongue.
Yeah, there's a little tingle.
Yeah, very little.
But that's about it. And they own up to that. I think the ad slogan several years ago, at least for Bud Light, was drinkability. And it's a terribly unoffensive beer.
Well,
this is probably the most socially correct beer I've ever drank.
Okay, yeah, you're not wrong with that. But one of the things...
There are no hashtags being formed off of this beer.
One of the things that Budweiser and beers like this do, and they all kind of join in together, is they use cold as a flavor profile.
Yeah.
Most craft, or what is distinguished as craft beers, do not do that.
Well, let's talk about that real quick, because that's what something... I mean, cold does affect the flavor, and what it does is kill the flavor, right?
It numbs your tongue, numbs taste buds.
Yeah. Which is why when you go into, an old dive bar somewhere, an old, greasy spoon or something, they hand you, like, a Budweiser. It comes either with or next to a
frost-covered
mug. Yeah,
absolutely.
And I will say that, like...
There's a time for that.
Yeah. These beers, they're actually good. In a frosted mug, there's something about...
There's a time I would want this, and ice cold to be. But normally I don't drink beer that way. Normally I drink beer to get something out of it, some special flavor, try it for the taste. This doesn't fit that, so this would be a very, very few times would I go to this and go, hey, I just want something really cold that I can slam down.
It's good on a hot day.
Sure, yeah,
I'd say that.
It is.
It's a lawn mowing beer. It's a backyard barbecue and burgers beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd give it that.
So we're going to go from this starting point onto all kinds of fun things. But this gives you a benchmarking, and this is where our benchmark lays, so that you know that when we come back to something and say, it reminds me of this characteristic of a Budweiser, you know where we're coming from.
We're going to try to have a bit of a story for the first few episodes so we can take you on a little bit of a journey. It's going to be a shortcut to where we ultimately ended up with, but we're going to try to move out of this into what is some of the bigger craft beers to true craft beers, and we'll just kind of keep expanding on that for a few episodes until we kind of just open the world up to everything that's on the shelves behind us and behind the camera that you can't see and the things we haven't even got yet.
So along that way, we need your help building a community and just banding together with this stuff. So, and what we mean mostly by that is recommendations on stuff to try, recommendations on places to go. We are up for trying something new. That's our motto. And so we want your feedback. We want your comments on where we should go.
Yeah, we want a discussion.
So to that degree, look us up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
All at those TasteBud guys.
Yeah.
Except for Twitter.
At those TasteBud guys.
Just TasteBud guys.
We'll find us there somewhere.
And if you want to email us directly, that's thosetastebudguys@gmail.com. And, get a hold of us. We'll respond best we can. Right now, first episode, I'm pretty sure we're going to respond. So, I ain't got a lot to do.
Fair enough.
So, anyways... we'd love to keep this going. Hopefully we're doing something you like. Like and subscribe down below, as Lyal said, and give us some future ideas.
Yeah. All right, so until next time.
Whether it be the beer you're drinking,
the food you're eating,
clothes you're wearing,
or the people you're meeting, grab a buddy
and try something new.